Hey everybody, welcome to the garden. I hope you're having a great day. Shout out to the lemon and lime lovers and everybody in between. It's time for the crypto market recap. Let's hop into these charts, see what the story is and what it may be. And remember, if you're interested in any of the services I provide, please check the links in the description below for both the Patreon and Discord. Okay, so before we hop into the swing trade charts, I do want to go over, as I was getting ready for this video, this is actually the second time I'm doing it, I saw a really good opportunity to go long on Solana for the small day trading account. So I decided to take that trade. And here's proof. So we're up about 7% on 10x, so about 40 bucks. So we did break past that $700 threshold. I wasn't really looking for the trade, but it was just right there, and I had buy bid open. You know how it is. I couldn't help but take it. So let's close out the trade now. So that way, next time you come into the morning session, you will understand why I'm past the $700 threshold again. I was able to catch a nice little long as I was coming for this video. So congrats to me and hopefully this success will continue on tomorrow. I am going to try avoid taking any day trade scalp trades without being in the trade room. This just happened to be forming perfectly as I was getting prepped for this video. Okay, so let's leave Solana. We'll get back to that in the morning. So make sure you are in that day trade room in the morning. And if you can't make it in the morning, watch out. I will be looking to come sometime in the late afternoon. So usually anywhere from 4 to 5 hours after that first morning session. Okay, so if you're in a different time zone, you'll get another shot at the trade room. And this is the last week of that free trial, by the way. All right, so looking at the crypto market overall, let's start with Bitcoin. So currently Bitcoin broke that rising structure level as as it was looking like it was going to. We wanted to see how it would break, a very decisive break, and now we're having a rising consolidation potentially forming here. This line right here, which is about 21,880, is a short-term minor resistance. Okay, it's very unlikely to hold over a long period of time, so don't expect price to stop there. If it should go higher, look for price to come all the way back to retest this rising trend line. Okay, so this can take time. This can happen literally today, the next day, or it could happen in 2 months. We don't know how much fuel we're going to need for price to rise to the levels of 23,000, 23,500, etc. So we do want to observe how this consolidation forms. And what have I always said? If you have a slow grinding, rising consolidation, sort of like this, you want to look for a eventual plummet going down. Okay, the probabilities start going towards the downside. Very similar to what we saw here, right? Big fall and a fairly long consolidation that's grinding up, and boom, an eventual breakdown. So again, you want to watch for this sort of price action. So we'll see if this occurs here. It's very likely, if this starts to occur here, it will be on a much smaller scale compared to what we had experienced here. Okay, and what is also interesting, and this is where the bulls have some life, this low pivot level here at 20,000, let's say 20,700, has not been taken out. Okay, we saw price come right towards it, might have pierced it just a bit, and then now has bounced above. So if the bulls can somehow hold that level as a floor for a significant amount of time, that might give us that push to go towards the rising trend line, and depending on how long it may take, maybe this confluence that area here. Okay, so we have some interesting scenarios kind of forming here, and we want to keep our eye on it as we are long in Bitcoin, as we've been long in Bitcoin for quite some time. You may realize that if you are a member, we have some opportunity here to possibly add on to our position, and maybe if we do have that move up, we might even get an extended move higher to get towards this major level at 26,500. So we have to keep all of these scenarios open on the table, and if it should break down, which is the more likely path, Obviously, the first level to watch is about 19,000 to 20,000. If this turns into a bearish consolidation, that makes this level very unlikely to hold. Okay, if we get a move grinding down towards it, almost like a bullish descending wedge pattern, that's when you want to watch for really potential longs or add-ons in our case to see a pop up from that level. Okay, if you are a bear, you want to see this level not have a slow descending grind towards it. You want to see it either plummet right through, or you want to see a bearish consolidation above it. Definitely not a slow grind towards it. That would make it more probable for a significant bounce at that level. Doesn't mean it'll be a bottom, but it does mean it's very likely you'll have that bounce either towards the conservative level of 21,800, but more likely towards this descending blue line, which will probably be around the 23 to even 24,000 level. So we have some really cool potential pathways possibly forming here. And of course, if we do lose 20,000, 16,000, 15,000, that level is going to be a major level of interest. Okay, so going on to Polkadot next. Polkadot broke through that rising trend line, came down pretty hard, not surprising considering what Bitcoin did, but has respected this pretty decent support zone here at $7. That's going to be a psychological level, but also it does have some major support there as well, technically. So we have seen a pretty nice bounce, and this daily candle is gorgeous, and this looks like it's very likely to come towards the top, towards the underbelly of this rising trend line, and that's sort of what I see Bitcoin potentially doing, but it would take a much longer compared to Polkadot. So this is what I'm kind of seeing forming here, and it looks pretty clear, especially if this daily candle closes in about 38 minutes. So this is a very bullish candle, but that does not mean it's bullish. Okay, so even if it comes to that rising trend line, that actually gives you an opportunity to open short, or it does give us the opportunity to see a bearish consolidation start to form, right, and then a rollover. So this just because that's happening doesn't mean we're just going to shoot through, doesn't mean we're going to have a bullish consolidation. It's more likely going to be a bearish consolidation. But either way, it's going to be an interesting level to see if it can hold. There is some potential that we will have a rise for the rest of this week. It does depend on what sort of news might meander out of Jackson Hole. So if you're not familiar, the stock market, the equity markets, they're going to be affected by a pretty much a meeting. You can call it convention, whatever you want to say, at Jackson Hole. Whatever comes out of there, if it tends to be more dovish, more bullish, then you'll see the markets flip around Wednesday, Thursday. And if it ends up being more bearish, then you'll see the markets come down. But there's going to be a lot of indecisiveness as we get towards that meeting on Thursday. But if any news starts slipping away prior to the official televised Jackson Hole meeting that's bullish, then you'll see the market start turning up hard. Okay, but Polkadot looks good, and should it break that level, obviously you're gonna be looking at the next major level being $8.56, and what's most likely is we'll see that bearish consolidation to try and break under $7, and then $6 and change will be that next level, and then of course the red line, the major level, will be $6, right? $6 is going to be major. If that gets lost, then we're going down, and we'll have to let the floor be created. All right, so Cardano is next. Again, similar to Polkadot, but this is a little bit more bearish, because what was interesting about Cardano, it was always having trouble kind of getting away from the trend line, right? So actually, let me fix this trend line real quick. Sorry, I had my chart on log at one point, yeah. So as you can see, Polkadot had a pretty nice extension away from its rising trend line, whereas Cardano always kind of slunk towards it. It never really was able to get that extension away, that nice push higher. So when Bitcoin gave way, Cardano's drop was a lot stronger, and now its rebound is a lot weaker as well compared to Polkadot. So we are likely not going to see Cardano reaching this ascending trend line, at least not anytime soon, unless Bitcoin starts having some massive bullish moves to the upside, right? It's not likely we're going to see this move back towards 60 cents unless Bitcoin starts initiating a move like that. And what looks like is happening here, I do see a slow sort of consolidation here. If we can keep it from drifting too high, we may get a nice box range. So that's one of the best scenarios you can hope for if you're a bull. If you're not a bull, you just want, you just want that rising, bearish structure to form to break under 44.5 cents, because 44.5 cents, as is proven as you look left, is very strong. Okay, and it's proven to be strong even right here. So it's going to need a little bit more fuel to break through. So it's likely you're going to see this sort of structure prior to this breaking, and then that bottom wick at 39 cents. I have it highlighted. You see it's thickened out. In my opinion, should price get to there, I think it blows right through it. Okay, so this is going to be the make or break zone at 44.5 cents for Cardano, if the bulls want more upside. Okay, it is possible, because these are rising trend lines. So this goes for both Bitcoin and Polkadot, Cardano, and all these other altcoins that have had these rising trend lines they're riding, that they can go even higher than their highest pivot. That does not mean they're bullish. Okay, so like, let's say Cardano does start breaking out higher, right, coming back to this rising trend line. Well, look, it broke past this high pivot, which is at 59.5 cents, but it's actually not that bullish. Okay, it's good in the sense that, yeah, if you're long, you long down here, or you longed over here, you're back in the money. But it's also just retesting a broken structure. So you want to keep that in mind, even if it does break the formerly high pivot, that it can still fail here and then come lower. All right, so that's a normal roadmap of these structures. All right, and Solana is next. Solana, again, they're all very similar. Rising structure, Solana broke through. And Solana and this next one that we're going to look at is Avalanche. We got into these a little bit later. So Solana, we're slightly in the red, and Avalanche, we're actually in the green. Pretty good, actually, too, like quite comfortably. But Solana looks interesting because it's very similar to Bitcoin, where you've had a bunch of wicks. Okay, a bunch of wicks so far, about 4 days worth, including today, testing this 34.68 level, piercing it here and there, but never showing signs of closing under, at least so far. That's usually a good sign of a short-term bottoming structure. Okay, it's not rising, it's horizontal. All right, so we're likely going to see a rise towards this pivot level here at $38.10. Now, will it get past there? In my opinion, unless Bitcoin changes the structure, or at least shows a very rapid impulse up, probably not. It will likely start stalling out there, because that resistance level correlates with a bearish structure forming. Okay, you have that rise in it could be a decent rise, but you'll have a rise that will look like a rising wedge, or a bear flag of some sort. Okay, so unless this level gets taken out decisively and quickly, something like this, mainly let's say something like this, and then comes down to like that, I don't really see much bullish upside for Solana beyond that level. So that's one of the reasons why I'm tempted to add on if we should break lower, because even if we break lower from here, this level is still very, very enticing to be hit once more. Okay, and if we do break past it, though, the risk and reward is very good. So this is one of the reasons why I also haven't decided to add on to it, because if we do break through this and we start that consolidation above it, well, what are we going to do? We're likely going to come towards this rising trend line, and I love chasing rising trend lines if you're long. Why? Because they're rising, so that means they can really, if technically they're chasing after them, depending on how long it takes, they can get higher and higher and higher. So there's a lot of incentive for us to be patient. There always is, but especially in these trades, we want to be patient, because we want to be able to give this stuff room, because we might be able to get some really nice rapid movers in these coins. And especially after you've seen all this selling, right? So this doesn't just go for Solana, this goes for all the coins we've gone over so far. If had rapid selling, you usually do see that snapback, right? How high the snapback will come, you don't really know for sure every time. That's why you want to look for, any resistance levels that are, in your way, to give you somewhat of a roadmap. All right, so off to Avalanche next. Avalanche looking very bullish, and unlike, see, and Avalanche is a little different compared to the other coins. Did have a similar structure, but if you notice, its rising structure was expanding out, right? So if you notice, it's not as steep, but this bottom trend line where it's almost touching right now is actually expanding out, and so is the top trend line here. Okay, so it was more of like an expanding channel or a microphone structure compared to the other ones that look like playing just either rising wedges or just ascending channels. So it reaching its bottom, so Avalanche reaching the bottom of this rising structure was a lot easier. Also, it had a major support level right under it, right? So when it started breaking and breaking under this level, it had a major level here to try and get through, and it obviously so far has not, which is not surprising. For this level to break, you're probably going to need that bearish consolidation. And what's cool about Avalanche, it's going to have a magnet, which is this ascending trend line, to be resistance. So as it makes this potential bearish structure, it's going to grind under this level. And since we are long, and we're pretty much long right around here, that's a great scenario to be in. As long as we can recognize that the structure is likely going to be bearish and we don't get too greedy, but we can see a potential beautiful play here if that's what ends up coming to be. And what's also interesting about Avalanche is, again, it was very unlikely as I was watching this descend all the way from up here that it would break right through this level down here. Okay, once you have all this selling, all of that momentum coming into a major level and coming in hard, you want to do what? Look for the snapback, right? So you want to look for that snapback, and that's what we're potentially getting here. And we have the potential of seeing even more upside so far. So I'm really interested to see how Avalanche is going to perform over these next couple of days. And that's all I want to go over today. I just I was gonna go over a few other things, but I don't really see a need at this point. Actually, before I go, I do want to give an FYI. Okay, and this is not financial advice. This is just, I just want to mention something here. So if you are aware, this is Loon C. So this is Luna coin, right? So remember, we all remember what happened to Terra Luna, right? $100 or whatever falls to less than a penny. What I want to shout out about this coin, all right? So this coin is showing signs of a pretty big move to the upside. Okay, I'm not saying this is coming back to this world. All I'm saying is the reason why I'm going to highlight this coin is I have been reading a bit about what Binance has been doing around this coin. I saw that they lost about, I want to say about $3 billion on this, maybe even more, about $3.4 billion on this. So Binance has lost a ton of money on Luna when it collapsed. I also am observing that a lot of functions that were on Luna's blockchain are coming back. So from what I understand, in 3 days, on the 26th, the staking function is returning. And then on the 12th, it seems that the validators of that blockchain have passed a motion that they will begin a burn mechanism, in the sense that every transaction on the Luna blockchain is going to burn X amount of tokens, and participating exchanges will also participate in that burn. And from what I've seen, CZ of Binance has agreed that as long as it passes on the Luna blockchain, they will make it so where on Binance you will be burning Luna on every transaction of Luna. And I looked at how much they transact. Guys, they do around just under, on average, $1 billion in Luna even today after the collapse. So doing the math, if that were to keep up, okay, if that were to keep up, we could see, and by the way, the burn rate is going to be 1.2 or 1.3%. So if that keeps up, that volume, we could see some massive supply burns in this coin. again, this is not financial advice. I'm not an expert in this project at all. I wasn't an expert in it up here. Okay, I lost money here. All right, now I didn't lose much. I lost 70% of 5% of a 5% position, so it was really nothing. But the point is, like, I have no sort of financial, gain in this. I did, in full transparency, take a stab right here. We're talking a very small amount, kind of for shits and giggles. I just want to see what's going to happen. This is one of the things one of the reasons why I love crypto is because it's kind of wild, wild west. Everyone's trying new things to see what they can do to make wealth. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen as the staking comes on line on the 26th, and I'm really curious to see how the burn is going to play out. And the burn supposedly is going to go through September 12th. Okay, I don't know if Binance is going to begin their burn September 12th, but the blockchain validators have passed it, and apparently it's set in stone for September 12th. So I just wanted to put this out there, just in case something crazy does happen. That, hey, at least I let you know, and I'm letting you know I have a little position in it. I didn't put a lot in there, and who knows? Who knows what could happen? This is crypto, right? This is crypto. All right, guys, that's all I'm gonna do for today. Remember, always remember, be patient, be vigilant, and be nimble. I love you guys. Take care.